Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you again. Oh, almost there. A little recap of where we left off. Now in Mosjøen. Gorgeous camping. Left this last night looking at that weather, right? You're never quite sure what the weather is going to do here. So, the following morning, I woke up to this. Suddenly, it was a very grey morning, and as I had breakfast and sorted out the room and got ready to leave, the mist seemed to clear. And what it was showing me was a gorgeous blue sky, which I totally wasn't expecting. So, the whole thing with biking, or, in this case, triking, the weather plays a huge part in everything you do. It's like taking the dog out for a walk. You'd rather do it if the sun's shining or it's not raining, And look at this place. I was quite sad to leave here. I was only here for one night, but, with this weather, and then suddenly the views improve 100%. But it just shows you really a little bit more of the kind of campings that are so easy to find here. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest, from the start of the trip, for it to be so easy just to roll up at a camping literally and book in for the night. And it's probably because this is for them, I suppose, the low season. Most people come up this way are looking for the Northern Lights or snow or some other kind of experience to see Norway in the snow. I'm a rider, and this is far more conducive, riding the roads like this without any threat of snow or ice or hail or any of that kind of thing, really. Look at this. The day cannot start better. And it's a particularly lovely route, actually. I am at this moment back on the E6. We'll be following the E6 for quite a way today, but that's not a bad thing because the views are gorgeous. It might just seem like a normal motorway, or a Norwegian motorway anyway, but views are a lot better than you would get on any other kind of motorway. So buckle up and enjoy the ride, because the views are spectacular today. The other thing here is actually, it's not just a beautiful blue sky, there's no wind. There's no wind. So it actually feels like a beautiful, warm, sunny day. To be honest, it's about 22, 23 degrees. Perfect, absolutely perfect weather for riding. And I will be riding quite a long way today, ending up at Melhus, which is another camping. Also on water. However, I will be heading towards the coast. This was a little bit more inland, but I will be heading down towards the coast. And eventually, I'm now heading towards Trollstigen, which is below me. I know that Trollstigen is closed for this year. In fact, it's been closed since the storm that closed it last year. And apparently they are aiming to get it open for 2025. So later this summer, hopefully there will be people that will get to ride it again, and with a spectacular new asphalt probably, because I know they've been trying to increase the safety element as far as falling rocks go. And I hope they've been successful, because there are a lot of people that are missing that as a place, as a mecca to head to in Norway. There are a couple of other mountain passes that are similar as far as the hairpins go and the steepness of the environment. However, Trollstigen is the one. It's the one that everybody wants to go to, and I get there. It's just I won't be able to ride the piste, and I know it already, only it is on my route, and I still want to see as much of that area as I possibly can, because then you have a better idea, in the event that Trollstigen isn't open on time for your visit, perhaps, what the rest of that area is like. And this is the route to get there. So all I'm doing really is pretty much, if you're coming down from the north, heading towards the south now and the coast, this is basically what you're going to be seeing from the road, and there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely none, especially when the roads are as quiet as they are today. Absolutely brilliant. Couldn't ask for more. So that gives you an idea of the where I am approximately. Heading towards Trondheim, because Melhus is actually just the other side of Trondheim. So this is quite a ride today, but like I said, I mean, it's a beautiful one. Look at this. I mean, I've not quite ridden through a landscape quite the same as this. Really, every country has its own thing. It really does. And it's not so perhaps spectacular as far as the heights go. That will increase again as I get closer to the coast. It's just all the water and the fact that there's so little wind today. I'm getting like mirror images, which for me as an artist is quite I just love it. I just absolutely love it. You can't describe it. And I think this is seriously the only place I've been with so much water where there are no bugs. I mean, you do see the odd fly, of course you do, but that's natural, that's normal. But however, I think it's perhaps because the water is all moving and a lot of it is salt water. I'm not sure how that works here. I know how it works in Holland, that the salt water comes in at one end and by the time it gets down to Amsterdam, it's like pretty much, it's black water, what do they call that? When there's no salt in the water anymore, it's silted out basically. And a lot of the water is tidal here, so it's salt water and it's moving water. So perhaps that's the reason that you're not getting mosquitoes here. I mean, I'm sure they are here, they must be. It's not like you would expect it to be. I think this is probably the furthest I've ever ridden in a country with only having to wipe brick dust or rock dust off my helmet and bike. There are very few bugs on the front of the bike, which is, when you think about how little traffic there is as well, which usually sorts that out on a main road, I'm not finding bugs on the bike. It's dust, it's from the rocks. So that's a different experience, because I've just had a summer of riding down to Montenegro, and at one point it is bugs. There are mosquitoes everywhere. It's probably also a lot to do with the weather, it's hot, so you expect more bugs. I didn't really get many there either. Maybe it's just too hot for them. And here, because the water's pretty much moving water, I suppose they don't get the possibility to sort of lay, I guess. But the water's constantly moving, so they don't get the kind of rest they do in other places. I'm sure that's got something to do with it. I will be finally getting off of the E6 quite shortly, heading towards the 763, and that's going to take me down towards the next accommodation. Still got a way to go yet, but oh, there we go. Yeah, the 763, and that's going to be now taking me further south and towards the coast. But there's just as much water. You're not going to miss anything, because the landscape, although here is a little softer than I've been used to, there is just as much water and there are just as many trees and the views are just as good. And I'm actually kind of getting now down into an area that a lot more people would have the ability to reach in a 2-week holiday. That sounds funny, but I've taken the time myself to do Norway kind of what I consider to be properly, spending more time getting off of the motorways and trying to see as much as possible. And like here, you can see as well that it is not as mountainous as it was, but it is just as gorgeous. And the time of day as well are giving me that beautiful sun. That I think it's when the sun's at its lowest you get the best views, and that's kind of pretty much all the time when you're here. I mean, you can look into the distance and still not know what the weather's going to do. And it literally does change all the time, so I've stopped second guessing the weather. No, you just have to kind of get up, dress in the gear that you think is going to cover you for the longest amount of time. You can check the weather. But I mean, I'm covering a couple of 100 kilometres before lunch. And the weather so far has been very kind to me. So I'm assuming it's going to stay like this. Assume nothing, of course. However, it looks like I could quite possibly reach my accommodation this evening dry, if not rattled. Yeah, another whole section of road without any form of asphalt on it. This went on for kilometres and kilometres. It is good fun, I must admit, because I'm like sliding and gliding some of these corners, but you can't do it all the time. I need my tyres to get me home. I don't particularly want to have to get a new set of tyres before reaching Amsterdam again, so you do have to be a little bit careful. If this was closer to home, I'd be having a ball. And the road might be a lot of fun for some. See, I've got 3 wheels, and you do, yeah, see, like here again, you know, now and again you do hit normal paved roads, and it is quite a relief. I mean, they're usually quite short-lived. Saying that, the views are just as good. The views are excellent. I'm actually getting quite close now to the accommodation, and it's quite interesting what people do as hobbies, isn't it? You know, for somebody to be dry skiing. Yeah, I suppose you've got to train, don't you? You know, if you're a skier, why not? Just seems like a really hard work way of enjoying a hobby, but you know, we're all different, aren't we? Okay, I'm getting closer now to the accommodation, and I'm kind of hoping that it's going to give me these kind of views. Again, it was a bit of a last minute thing, and I made a bit of a mistake with the navigation as well. My fault. See, the thing is, I like to avoid motorways because you see this kind of thing, and it gives you the opportunity to stop, which a lot of the main roads don't really. You could stop and probably get away with it because people will be able to see you and go around you, but I just don't like causing any kind of inconvenience to anybody. That's just a personal thing. So I tend to not stop in the middle of, well, some of the places I've seen people stop is unbelievable. Seriously, they just stop in the middle of the road. They won't even pull over, you know, I mean, come on. But this was my accommodation, having reset my navigation to not avoiding motorways, because that was the only way I could get here basically. I went around in circles for a little while. However, what a gorgeous place. Yeah, the inevitable campers and caravans, but they have their own parking places, and I have direct access to the water. Not that it's the kind of temperature you're going to want to swim in, unfortunately not. However, that just gives you more time to chat to some of the other guests. And I met somebody called another Thomas. It's an Instagrammer. And his journey is unbelievable. He's been on the road for a very long time, and he was a very interesting guy to talk to. So good to meet you, Thomas. And let's hope that the rest of your trip goes as well as this one had. And it was good to meet you. And it's a funny thing, but people riding solo tend to be the most chatty and talkative and happy to talk about their trips. I suppose with no interruptions. Gotta be good. Because travelling with a group or in a partnership, you tend to continually talk to your partner and all the rest, and the rest of the group. So, yeah, I think solo riders tend to be more sociable, more approachable, perhaps. That seems to happen to me lots. I'm moving on now towards Trollstiger, and the weather is doing some very strange things. Every day is different. You say you just, I'm not sure if that's a good sign or a bad sign when you see the birds disappearing. Yes, it is that time of year, so, Anyway, it may be grey, but it is dry, and that's the only thing that's really that important. So I'm really looking forward to the next part of this trip, because it involves some amazing views, and the landscape is about to get a little extreme. And unfortunately wetter. Yes, you can't have it always, and I've had it pretty good for a pretty long time, really, considering where we are. But the sun does shine. You get a bit of everything, and I'm just admiring the views while I can. Things are about to get a little strange. So if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe, because I have mentioned in the past that I'm a little bit random with posting. Yes, sometimes life gets in the way. So thanks for watching, and I hope you come back for the next episode. Bye!